We already late, so another minute or two, and we'll do. Where's Mr. Tucker?
He's going to the bathroom, I think.
Let's try it again. Oh, did he? Oh, okay, cool. Uh-huh.
I made a big lazy Susan. He got time to get.
Oh, okay.
Then he wants some other stuff. I said, I ain't got time to cook.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, I like Mr. Phillips.
He's a good guy.
Good guy.
Yep. That's right.
All right, we ready now? Ms. McCloskey, you ready?
Yep.
Good? Okay. All right, good evening and welcome to the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors Business Meeting on Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Our board meeting room at 39 Bank Street, Chatham, Virginia. Ms. McCluster, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bowman?
Here.
Mr. Dudley?
Present.
Mr. Height?
Here.
Mr. Ingram?
Here.
Mr. Whittle? Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Dalton?
Here. Would you all join me in a moment of silence, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank y'all. Moving to item 5. Are there any items to be added to the agenda? Not hearing any. We'll move to item 6. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Chairman, I so move.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Tucker, second by Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes unanimous. Moving to item 7, our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda that has been presented in our package today.
Got a motion by Mr. Tucker.
Second.
By Mr. Dudley, I'm sorry. A second.
I think that was Mr. Bowman.
Was it Mr. Bowman? Okay. Mr. Bowman. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. All right, motion carries unanimous. We're moving to item 8. We have some presentations. So we'll move to the front of the board meeting room, gentlemen.
Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry for the delay coming out, but we had a lot of business to discuss tonight. So I'm going to make the first presentation, and it's my pleasure to make a certificate of recommendation to Mount Hermon Baptist Church. And so if those members from Mount Hermon Baptist Church will come forward, and Pastor Steve Cromie. Steve, come on up. Matthew Speck, Jay Merricks, Jay, come on up here, and all the trustee members that are here, and Dr. Pam Cobbler. Is she here? Yes. Y'all just come on up here. And we also have Delegate Eric Phillips. Eric, if you'll come up also. Thank you all for coming. This is quite an event here because I don't know of another church that's been in existence this long unless it's one at Jamestown. So this is quite impressive here. So I have a certificate from the Board of Supervisors. I'm going to read this and then present it to the pastor here. And then I think Delegate Phillips, where you have something also. So this is a certificate of recommendation, and it's the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors sincerely congratulates and admires Mount Hermon Baptist Church as it celebrates its 180th anniversary. Formed in 1844, the church has grown from a small rural congregation serving the immediate community to the vibrant regional church that impacts the greater Danville, Pennsylvania County area. Mount Hermon Baptist Church is affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention and the Southern Baptist Conservatives of Virginia. Mount Hermon Baptist Church offers a variety of outreach programs throughout the community, including but not limited to Grief Share, Mount Hermon Early Learning Center, Awana, Counseling Ministry, Good News Club at Twin Springs Elementary School, and Care Portal. Ministry, Good News Club at Twin Springs Elementary School, and Care Portal. We thank you for your service and mission work to the citizens of the county, and we wish you many years of growth and blessings as you celebrate your 180th year anniversary. Mount Hermon Baptist Church, given this 15th day of October 2024, Kenneth Bowman, Chatham Blair's District, and Darrell Dalton, Chairman. Pastor.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. And I'll let you be Vanna White tonight if you don't mind. Appreciate it. Show us the letters there. So I too have a commending resolution from the Virginia House of Delegates, and the way this works is it goes to the floor just like a bill. It's read on the floor, all the members vote on it, and so unanimously the House of Delegates voted to commend you guys on your 180th year anniversary. And I don't know, I think we have a lot of the same information, but I'll read it. For 180 years, Mount Hermon Baptist Church of Danville has provided its congregation with uplifting spiritual guidance, joyful occasions for fellowship and worship, and abundant opportunities for community outreach. Established in 1844 under the leadership of its first pastor, the Reverend John Hankins, Mount Hermon Baptist Church has grown over the years from a small rural congregation to a thriving regional church that serves the greater Danville, Pennsylvania County area in a myriad of ways. The congregation of Mount Hermon is an affiliate of the Southern Baptist Convention, Southern Baptist Conservatives of Virginia, and is dedicated to the work of sharing the gospel with others from the church's beginning, and the vision and reach of these efforts have expanded greatly over the church's history. Mount Hermon Baptist Church has made a profound and lasting impact on its community through several programs and initiatives, including its Grief Share Seminar, the Mount Hermon Early Learning Center, the Awana Spiritual Education Program, its counseling ministry, the Good News Club at Twin Springs Elementary School in Danville, and other charitable endeavors to care for individuals and family in need. And Mount Hermon Baptist Church is currently led by Pastor Steve Cromie, who provides enlightened counsel to the church's members while working tirelessly to ensure the church's well-being and longevity and the fulfillment of its mission. Over the past 180 years, Mount Hermon Church has served to strengthen the faith of many individuals who have found a greater sense of purpose and belonging within its walls. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Delegates that Mount Hermon Baptist Church hereby be commended on the occasion of its 180th anniversary, and be it resolved further that the clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to Pastor Steve Cromie, Senior Pastor of Mount Hermon Baptist Church, as an expression of the House of Delegates' admiration for the church's history and its contributions to Danville, Pennsylvania County, and the Commonwealth.
Yeah, let me move this out of the way. Everybody.
Thank you, sir. If we can have your attention, the pastor wanted to have a couple of words.
Everybody in my church just got real nervous. I just want to say thank you for this recognition. I want to thank the Lord for his goodness. And as you saw, the many members over the 180 years that have made this church, have invested in this church, and served this county faithfully. And so thank you so much for this recognition. We hope and pray that there will be another 180 years that God uses us to impact our community for the gospel. Thank you.
Well, that was a hard act to follow. I've got a ministry of a different sort. It's a business of asphalt. So if the Cruz family would please come here, or come forward, please. Ms. Cruz and family, I have the honor of reading this certificate of recognition. And I will tell you that Mr. Phillips will be back when the General Assembly goes back in session next year, and we're going to do a nice one for you in regards to the state. But this certificate reads, the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors expresses its sincere congratulations and admiration to Cruz Construction and Asphalt Paving Incorporated on 50 years of outstanding business. Founded by Melvin Cruz in March of 1974, the company has continuously grown and adopted to meet the evolving needs of Southside Virginia. From humble beginnings, providing foundation excavation for local contractors and homeowners, Cruz Construction has expanded its offering to include land clearing, trenching, finish grading, and through the acquisition of Reynolds Asphalt Paving in 2014, road paving. This natural expansion into asphalt paving solidified the company's position as a trusted partner of the Virginia Department of Transportation and furthered its roles in improving infrastructure across the region. Throughout the years, Cruz Construction has not only built solid foundations for its customers, but also provided long-term employment and security for its dedicated employees. Today, Lynn Cruz and Jeanette Berger and Charles Berger, the next generation of leadership, continue to uphold the company's tradition of excellence, innovation, and community service. Inspired by the vision and hard work of Melvin Cruz, they have committed to carrying forward the legacy of service and integrity that has been at the heart of Cruz Construction for half a century. We wish to congratulate growth and blessings in the future on behalf of William V. Ingram, Tunstall District Supervisor, and Darrell Dalton, Chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Thank you, sir. Maybe before the pictures, Mr. Cruz, would you like to say something?
Cruz Construction would just like to thank everybody that made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else, Lynn? Jeanette? Okay. Well, if y'all would, come on in here.
All right, gentlemen, we have another resolution here tonight. Is any of the McBride family present? Anybody from the McBride family? Okay, I'm going to read the resolution for them. They're not here tonight, but we're going to present it to them. Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors, resolution number 2024-10-04, supporting the name in the Route 40 West Gretna Bridge over U.S. Highway 29, the Deputy Sheriff Eugene B. McBride Memorial Bridge. Virginia, at the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors business meeting, October the 15th, 2024, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas the board is committed to recognizing and celebrating Pennsylvania County historical heritage and contributing to thereto by the citizens, and whereas Deputy Sheriff Eugene B. McBride was a county deputy who suffered a heart attack while serving the county citizens, and whereas on November 2nd, 1969, McBride responded to a disorderly conduct call, and whereas during said call, he had arrested one subject who, when he started suffering chest pains, and whereas a second deputy who responded to the scene arrived to find McBride leaning over his patrol car hood, clutching his chest, and whereas the backup deputy took control of the prisoner and McBride drove himself to a local hospital where he died a short later, and whereas McBride had been with the county sheriff's office for 9 years and was survived by his wife and 4 sons, 2 daughters, and his mother. And whereas law enforcement officers saved countless lives by protecting county and Virginia citizens through the law enforcement and patrolling the state and county roadways, and every day the brave ever-present danger to assist a stranded motorist to investigation of gun or drug or human trafficking, to stop public corruption, to bring closure to devastations and families, and to stop dangerous drivers and dangerous individuals. And whereas McBride is an example of this dedication of the county sheriff's office, and in fitting that the board remember his ultimate sacrifice, and whereas Virginia Code 33.2-213 authorizes the Commonwealth Transportation Board to give suitable names to such highways, bridges, interchanges, and other transportation facilities, and change the name of any highway and bridges, interchanges, and other transportation facilities forming a part of the system for the state highways. And whereas the same Virginia Code section further provides the Virginia Department of Transportation shall place and maintain appropriate signs indicating the name of the highways, bridges, interchanges, and other transportation facilities named by the CTB, and require that the cost of producing, placing, maintaining signs shall be paid by the locality in which they are located. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the board supports naming of the Route 40 Gretna Road Bridge over US 29 in the county's Callens-Gretna District, the location of said bridge, and more details on the map attached to hereto, and made a part fully thereof the Deputy Sheriff Eugene B. McBride Memorial Bridge. And by it further resolved that the county agrees to pay the cost of producing, placing, and maintaining the signs, calling attention to this naming, and be it finally resolved that the copy of this resolution be forwarded to the McBride family, appropriate location of the VDOT office and the CTB for consideration, given by my hand this 15th day of October 2024, Darrell W. Dalton, the Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Caleb McCluster, the Pennsylvania Clerk for the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors. And come on, Diane, I don't think there's none of the McBride family here, but yeah. Yeah, let's move that over and we'll get a picture of this.
One more.
Okay, this is a resolution, this thing won't stay up, honoring our first responders, and not just any first responders. These are the ones that were able to react to the tornado in Dry Fork, and it happened right there on Dry Fork Road, which is Dry Fork Road splits Mr. Ingram's and my district. And so we have a resolution here, and anybody that's a first responder or a previous first responder, please come up here, and we would like to present this to you. We don't have anybody? Oh, Chris. Yeah, Chris there. Mike, come on up here. Come on. Where's Ben? Where's Scott? Scott, where is he? Scott, come on up here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read half of these whereases, and then I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to give it to Mr. Ingram. How about that? Yeah, see? That's what I'm going to do. All right, here we go. Yeah, so honoring county tornado first responders of Virginia at the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors, October 15, 2024 business meeting, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and when an emergency occurs, the prompt response from our first responders is critical to the protection of life preservation of property, and whereas in the early afternoon hours of September 27, 2024, that due to the Hurricane Helene weather event that occurred in Pennsylvania County, Virginia, and whereas an F2 tornado touched down on Dry Fork and Callens communities stretching over 6 miles from W.I. Powell Road, Dry Fork Road, Irish Road, Bearskin Road, and North Flint Hill Road. And whereas the safety of the public and first responders is the utmost importance, and tornadoes pose a significant threat to life and property, requiring swift and effective response. And whereas when first responders appeared on the scene, they quickly evaluated the conditions on scene and made an effective rescue of a citizen whose house had been destroyed, provided medical assistance, and transported to the hospital. And whereas the Dry Fork Fire Department and the Blairs Fire and Rescue Department, in collaboration with neighboring fire departments, prompted and effectively responded to the natural disaster, demonstrating professionalism, courage, and exemplary teamwork in rescuing the residents and bringing calm to the chaos. And
You didn't read half of this. Whereas the swift action and bravery displayed by county volunteer firefighters in clearing debris and searching every house to prevent further damage and ensure the safety of the residents and surrounding community. And whereas volunteers and first responders throughout the county gave their time to help ensure that evacuees were rescued, sheltered, clothed, fed, and emotionally comforted through this traumatic event. And whereas people throughout the county responded with an outpouring of support for the victims of this incident, and whereas the county recognizes the efforts and sacrifices of the first responders who risked their own safety to respond to this tornado. And now be it resolved that the board hereby recognizes and honors the bravery and heroism of Dry Fork Fire Department, Blairs Fire and Rescue Department, and all participating fire departments, E91 operators, public safety staff, local law enforcement staff, volunteers, and anyone else involved with assisting this natural disaster, and encourages the citizens of the county to join in expressing our heartfelt thanks to these brave men and women for the exemplary service and sacrifice given under my hand this 15th day of October 2024. Kenneth Bowman and Darrell W. Dalton.
I got it. Thank you. That's it.
You can. All right, moving to item 9, hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board on the hearing of the citizens shall be a resident or landowner of the county and a registered agent of such resident of landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district and all the tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during the hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to any individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that sign up to speak during said section who does not get to opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priorities at the next board meeting. Absent chairman approval, no person shall be able to speak who was not signed up. Ms. McCluster, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. Phyllis Barker with the Beautification Committee.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. We don't mind picking up trash, but we're not excited about getting up here and speaking in front of everybody. I'd like for you to meet the rest of the committee members, and they are.
Hello, I'm Evelyn Davis, representing the Bannister District. Carolyn Herndon, Tunstall.
Judy Simpson, Staten River District.
Okay.
Sherry Moss, Cowlins Gretna District. Brenda Bowman, proxy for Wendy Shields, Haymore Nursery, Chatham Blair's District.
Right. Thank you.
We're missing Catherine Blair tonight. She couldn't be with us, and she represents the Westover District.
Okay.
And in saying that, we have so many people here that we would like to thank for participating. We had a much better turnout than we anticipated, being that this was our first community event. And thankfully, we had Diana McFarland. She provided a PowerPoint, I think. Is that getting ready to play? Because we don't want to leave anyone out that participated. It was kind of a rocky start. Our first day was supposed to be September 30th, and as you know, we had rain. Rain turned into a tornado, and our thoughts and prayers are with those residents that have been affected by that. In saying that, we have many participants that surprised us with some of the items they have found. I'll get into that in a minute. But overall, we had 150 participants. We had 225 bags filled and approximately 50 miles clean from Hurt to Brownsville to Ringgold to Chatham. And a landfill report that shows approximately 12 tons was taken for savings of residents about $500. And what I would like to say to the participants too is that you are special people to get up on a Saturday where you could be doing your own thing on a Saturday. You get up and you pick up somebody else's mess. So that tells me a lot about your character, and you are truly appreciated. So we had a friendly little competition among the districts. This is the first time we've done this. And we had posts in each district. And our supervisors, they got some hands-on. I know my supervisor, Eddie Height, Eddie was out there with us. And Eddie, it was pretty gross, wasn't it? Yes. Dan River, we had 3 truckloads of trash. And Eddie helped. We had 63 bags that day to unload. And I have to give a special shout out to my husband, Mike Barker. Mike was my go-to person. He was helping setting out signs. He would go give people the trash bags as they needed them and all those other little things, including missing some suppers. But in the competition, although we're separated in different districts, we all stand united in one thing, and that is to see how we can turn Pennsylvania County becoming more litter-free. Excuse me. So in the competition, I'm proud to say, Eddie, that Dan River District took first place. Overall, we had 51 participants. We collected 93 bags of trash. We covered somewhere close to 10 miles and donated like 58 man-hours time. I'm sorry, I kind of caught my other committee members off guard because I was just ready for that. Got to brag a little bit. Second place, Bannister District came in second. Evelyn, you want to say what y'all got?
We're happy that the people participated. I used my folks as a group team, and it worked very well with the team. We had individuals as well, and we collected 42 or 3 bags with maybe 41 volunteers. And I thank the Lord for everything went well. Everybody was safe, and I thank God for that.
Very good.
Good.
So some of the oddities that we found while collecting trash was a Batman figurine, a dollar bill, a couple of wigs, a toy elephant, a Craftsman wrench, which my husband is excited he got that, boat steering wheel, a quilt, car bumper, and a Dan River cheerleading ornament. So if anybody at Dan River is missing an ornament, we know where it is. So we would like to thank the following for serving as a gathering stage for pickup and drop-off for supplies. That's Gretna Volunteer Fire Department, Mount Hermon Volunteer Fire Department, Ringo Volunteer Fire Department, Broswell United Methodist Church, Walker's Restaurant, and the Hurt Town Administrative Office. So now that we've got over the fall cleanup, we're giving everyone here a heads up. April, spring, cleanup, get ready. The more bags are coming. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Man. Very good.
Kathy Ramsey.
Welcome, Ms. Ramsey.
Good evening. Good evening. Since we have 3 minutes, I had my name twice, but I can't speak but one time.
That's
I'm
right.
going to pick out of the one I'm going to speak. The first one was going to be on economic development, but we have someone here to speak on that, so I'll let him do that. And I'll speak on the second one. Okay. Good evening, Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors. Hello, my name is Kathy B. Ramsey, Bannister District. I am here to voice a major concern from the Bannister District concerning the high volume of traffic on State 57 east of Chatham and 640, north of Highway 29, Spring Garden, Java, and Riceville, towards that direction. The citizens in a particular location are concerned about the speed, lack of road identification signs, and speed signs in the Java community, especially at the 640 intersection, Brownsville Heights Lane, and 2-mile stretch from 640 and 57 intersection and traffic towards Halifax County East. Due to the excessive speed and increase of traffic, there's been many accidents, and the concern is the lives may be in danger if preventive measures are not taken. The speed signs are yellow and remain yellow throughout the travel route, except for a 55-mile speed sign going east on 57 after crossing the 57-640 intersection. The residents that live in the community are suggesting a decrease of speed of all the signs and replace the speed sign color to white to encourage the motorists to use more caution when traveling on 57 east or west. Brownsville Heights Lane does not have a speed sign at all, and there is an increase of children living in the community, and the residents are concerned about the speed of the bus and the pick up students and other vehicles. The condition of the road surface is also a concern. A suggestion of a stop sign with blinking lights at 57-640 intersection would warn motorists of the upcoming intersection. Last week is an example of the danger at that particular intersection. Weeks before that, an accident with a postal carrier in the community was serious and further creates a safety concern. Many residents are seasoned and express the fear of entering and exiting the highway becomes more dangerous because the increase of flow of traffic and the speed limit. The excessive amount of large trucks
30 seconds remaining.
Large trucks that access the route from Chatham to Halifax also are growing concern. Hopefully, by bringing the community aware of this situation, the awareness will motivate the board to revisit and address the concerns of the residents that live in the location listed in the Bannister District. Thank you for your time and consideration and concern. And then I have one more thing to say. Some of the road signs are missing. The
3
citizen
minutes is complete.
gave me these road signs that may need to be addressed. Elkhorn Road, Java Road, Markham, McCormick Road, Halifax Road, and Peytonburg Road. Halifax Road and Game Reserve Road, Spring Garden Road, Slayford Road, Halifax Road, and Henry Mill Road. Yatesville Road and County Road has been missing for 4 years. All these road signs have been missing, and the person that gave me that said from 2 to 3 years. Just address those if you don't mind. And thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Roy Jones.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Well, I want to speak on the Bannister District about us Dollar General or some store on the Spring Garden 640 road. You know, I'm just going to talk plain. I had to get my tags for my car, and we had to go down 40, you know. And so went down 40, and I was just driving on looking. I looked out in a field, and I saw a Dollar General. I said, that's something. We don't even have a Dollar General from 29 all the way to Ala Vista. Not nothing, not even a store. And on 640 and 57, right at the 44, we have up there a store called Yates, used to be Yates anyway. And so, you know, I look at the older peoples in that area there now. If they need a loaf of bread or a dozen eggs, we got to go to Chatham or Danville to get a loaf of bread or a dozen eggs. And, you know, I was listening to some older people was talking, said, this don't make no sense. We don't have nothing, and everywhere else you look, they got a Dollar General. So in other words, I did pay attention to the store coming out, Dollar General coming out of Danville up there at Market Square. In 5 minutes down the road, you just built another Dollar General right there on 29 in Blair's. And you know that, I kind of looked at that, I said, what's wrong with the Bannister District down our way? We don't have nothing. It don't have to be a Dollar General, just need something down there. And just being honest, a guy was talking to me today, working on my old tractor. And he said, Jones, we ain't got nothing there in here. I said, what you mean? We ain't got a Dollar General or nothing. We need something. We got to go to Chatham and Danville. That's the second time somebody just come out and told it. And so I said, you're right about that, and I just don't, at least we don't understand why we don't have nothing in that district, you know, all the way from 29 to Ala Vista on 640. Check it out, drive it and see, don't have them.
30 seconds remaining.
So, you know, and I just was concerned about that and when could something be done about it. And we did talk to that young man like well about it, and so we just hoping we can get something some kind. It don't have to be no Dollar General, you know. But there's something in that area, you know. Because everybody they take off, they got to go. But I just wonder about the older people, you know. I'm old myself.
3 minutes is complete.
You know. Thank y'all, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Jones.
John Towns.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My concern is, and Sister Ramsey has already addressed, but since I had said that I would like to this opportunity to address my concerns on 57, the traffic. There is a residential, and there's a mail run, and traffic comes through speeding, and sometimes you can be in a position, and I'm speaking of my experience, I have been in the third vehicle, and my vision was blurred because I could not see around, and the vehicles in front of me abruptly slowed down. And my concern is that traffic traveling at a high rate of speed in that residential zone could cause a more accident, and it could be worse than what it has been. And I would like to give that some consideration, that something would be done, traffic light, signal control, that it may get the eye of our fellow motor vehicle operators. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mike Neal.
Welcome, Mr. Neal. Good, sir.
Okay, my name is Mike Neal. I'm in the Dan River District. Mr. Eddie Heights, my supervisor. Y'all really hit on a couple of things I was going to say tonight. First off, I come here to say thank you, okay? 2 months ago, I was here. Y'all done a resolution and presented it to me from the Board of Supervisors. I've been in Ringo Fire 55 years. The last 34 and a half years of my life, I was fire chief. And I stepped down this July to give it to a younger guy. I'm still running, but I want to say thank you to y'all for giving me that, okay? Second thing is Tammy Marshy from the State Senate was here also. State and Senate presented me with a resolution, and I just want to say thank you to them, okay? So Daddy didn't get everything beat in my head right when I grew up, but one thing he taught me was to say thank you, so I appreciate that. Second thing is, you sort of touched on it a minute ago, is being fire and rescue in this county for 55 years, the tornado on Dry Fork Road, and y'all mentioned Blaz went, Dry Fork went. Also, I know Chatham was there, and Mount Herman coming in off 41 was there. There was a few more came, but that was your first primary four. You had your county, your state police, public safety, okay? And I'd take a hats off Dean Fowler, chief of Blair's. Dean was in command of the situation. They got there, they had a patient pinned under a tree. They got in there with all of them and got the patient out from under the tree, got in the ambulance and tried to wiggle through and took that patient to the hospital. They done a quick 25 house surveys called a secondary survey. Went in, we got anybody trapped here, the trees in this house, anybody hurt here. They checked all that out. And then most of the trees down actually had power lines wrapped in them, boom, boom, boom. You can't cut on a tree with chainsaw with power lines, right? So luckily nobody else was hurt, and everybody done a good job in that. So I pretty much said this to say this, and this will be my last thing. Years ago, we had a SOT team in the county, and for y'all behind me, the SOT team, that's not a team of drunks, okay? SOT means Special Operation Team. Pennsylvania County had that. It sort of dwindled away a lot. I know tomorrow night's association is going to talk on it. Ben Meeks back here is Fire Commission Chairman. I would think they're going to look at it. I would recommend between Dean and them and work with public safety. We have got to get that back active in this county. 5 years ago, the county bought a $225,000 truck, had it at Blair's, had it back in service, needed some work on it. The truck was put in the county's name.
30
That's who it
seconds
belonged
remaining.
to. It was titled to Pennsylvania County, and I ain't gonna get in depth, but it was a big hot meeting over here one night, and, you know, a county administrator and whatever else got together and decided, hey, we don't need it. So they put it in a building, sold it for 10% of what they paid for it, and it's gone. We don't have none in the county. Now, let's face it, okay? You see what's happening in Asheville from here to Florida, okay? So it can happen to us, okay? If that storm would have hit up out in Asheville,
3 minutes is complete.
50 to 75 miles east of here, where would we be at in Pennsylvania County? That's just what I'm asking you. You know, my brother-in-law always said, and going forward, what are we going to do to make things better? So that's what we got to look at. And I know y'all fund a little money now, but we got some boats and rescue people with Blair's. We got some up around the Smith Mountain Lake area, some up around maybe Cool Branch and Hurt. Gretna's got a lot of what they call swimmers. But we have got to get this united back, get it funded. It's not fair for the volunteer stations to have to take money out of their pocket and buy a boat, and buy all the road rescue and all the structural damage equipment. It's not fair. But we got some people scattered all over the county that can be on this team and was on this team, okay? But we got to get that back together, gentlemen, because I'm going to tell you, you just go, you look at Asheville, my brother and them been up there, and it's catastrophe, and some of y'all may have too. But I'm telling you, if it hits this county, if we get 15 to 20 inches of rain up here on top of White Oak Mountain, Smith Mountain Lake, even the Dan River down at Ringo, we're going to have a mess, flooded, and this and that and the other. And they say, hey, we can call Danville, they got some stuff. Well, trust me, if it hits Pennsylvania County like that, it's going to hit the city of Danville like that.
That's right.
And they're going to say, hey, we got no resources available. Being the biggest county in the state of Virginia, size of Rhode Island, we ought to be able to put and fund a team together for ourselves so we can take care of ourselves, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Mike.
Ben Meeks.
Welcome, Mr. Meeks.
Thank you, sir. I promised me and Mike didn't plan to come tonight and work on this together, but I do appreciate what Mike said. So my name is Ben Meeks. I reside in the Gretna Callens District, and I typed up a little speech here. But before I get to that, Mike's exactly right. I think we all just seen nobody in Asheville or Boone, North Carolina, or those areas thought what happened would ever happen. Called it a 1,000-year flood. Well, guess what, guys? It can happen here. You know, I didn't think we'd see a tornado EF2 touchdown, but it did. Everybody did great on those responses, but we've got to get our SOT team back up and running. That's going to take the volunteers, the Public Safety Department, the Fire and Rescue Association, the Fire Commission, and you guys working together to get it back up and running. So we're going to work on that to starting tomorrow night and hopefully Thursday night and moving forward with some strategic planning. But we have swimmers. We just got 12 trained in Gretna for Swiftwater 1. Some are trained in Swiftwater 2. But like Mike said, I can't afford all of the equipment. Dean and them have a lot of the equipment out at Blair's. Some of it's up at Cool Branch. It's scattered throughout, which we need. It needs to be kind of positioned around the county. But there's a lot more to it that we got to get back up and running. That being said, the reason I come to speak to you all tonight, and the last time I spoke to you, and I'm going to say it again, this has been the best Board of Supervisors so far, which has been 10 months so far now, that I've worked with in the last 16 years that I've been a first responder in this county. Thank y'all for your continued support. I wanted to come tonight to thank the Public Safety Department, the volunteer fire and rescue agencies, and the dispatch center for all that they do in our county to answer the fire and EMS calls. Our volunteers saves this county millions, and the volunteers run 100% of the fire calls and 80% of the EMS calls in this county. This week alone, our volunteers ran 140 of the 197 EMS dispatch calls in Pittsylvania County, and 100% of the fire calls. I'm thankful for our public safety department, our dispatchers, and our volunteers, and I hope you, the board, will continue to support these folks as they have a very hard job, whether they're doing it for paid or for free. We're entering a budget time, and I just want to call to your attention, the State Office of EMS has decided that they will no longer cover our EMS reporting software known as ESO, and all of our EMS agencies, including public safety, will have to come out of pocket to cover this. This will be a large expense for our volunteer agencies and the public safety department. I plan to add on the agenda items Thursday night at our Fire and Rescue Commission meeting, asking the board, which will be you guys, to send a letter of recommendation to our state legislators asking for the state not to cut this important funding for this software that we have to have. And I will just quickly touch on the drug box program that you all
30
are aware
seconds remaining.
that you all are aware has had major changes in this last year. We thankfully have all 12 EMS agencies in the county in the licensing phase. Some have completed that phase and are almost ready to go live whenever the state is ready to flip the switch. With that being said, please remember us again come budget time, because the state used to provide the drugs, but now the agencies will have to buy these drugs themselves and eat that cost as well. I appreciate your time, and I pray for each of you, as I know you have a hard job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Meek.
Is that all? Thank you. Moving to item 10, our public hearings for rezoning. Pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pennsylvania County Zoning Ordinance, the Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear, decide specific zoning issues and zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this task, the Board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pennsylvania County. The Board must ensure that all its decisions and regulations be directed to these goals, and that each consist with the environment comprehensive plan in the best interest of Pennsylvania County, its citizens, and its posterity. Case R-24-016, Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-016, Realty First LLC has petitioned to rezone 1.08 acres located off State Road 750 Strawberry Road in the Callens-Gretna Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be consolidated with an adjacent parcel zoned A1. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On September 3rd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, a representative with Realty First is here to represent the petition.
Thank you. Are they here now to come up? Any questions? Anybody? Okay. Is anyone here to represent, or you going?
They were supposed to be, but I don't see anyone.
Okay.
So I'll.
All right.
There's one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. I don't have any questions, but, okay. Let's see. Let me open that public hearing, Ms. McCluster. At 8:19, I opened the public hearing for the case R-24-016. And at 8:19, I'll close the public hearing in case R-24-016. Mr. Dudley, could you make that
Yes, sir.
motion?
And ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, this is Darrell's district, Darrell Dalton's district. I'll be making the motion for this. So in case R-24-016, make a motion approving the rezoning of 1.22 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow property lines to be adjusted. And, Mr. Chairman, that is my form of motion.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Dudley. Got a second? Second by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. We ready to vote? Motion passes unanimously. Your case has been rezoned. Thank you. All right, moving to 10-2 in case R-24-017. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-017, Richard Watkins has petitioned to rezone 3 parcels totaling 0.94 acres located off of State Road 614, Sandy River Road in the Tunstall Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be subdivided. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On September 3rd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Richard Watkins is here to represent the petition, I believe.
All right, thank you. At 8:21, I open the public hearing in case R-24-017. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Speaking. All right, at 8:21, I'll close the public hearing in case R-24-017. Mr. Ingram, the pleasure is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case R-24-017, I make the motion approving the rezoning of a total of 0.94 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agriculture District to allow the property to be subdivided.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Ingram, second by Mr. Dudley. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Property is being rezoned. All right, moving to case R-24-018. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-018, Ryan Hack has petitioned to rezone 21.25 acres located on State Road 855 Martin Drive in the Tunstall Election District from RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be used for agricultural purposes. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On September 3rd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Ryan Hack is here to represent the petition.
All right, thank you. I'll open the public hearing at 8:23 in case R-24-018. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
All right, at 8:23, I'll close the public hearing in case R-24-018. Mr. Ingram, the pleasure is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case R-24-018, I make a motion approving the rezoning of a total of 21.25 acres from RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for agricultural uses on the property. That's my motion.
Motion by Mr. Ingram. A second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowman. Any further discussion? All right, not hearing any, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Dudley?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Your property is being rezoned. Moving to case 4, it's case R-24-019. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-019, Brenda and Michael Rogers have petitioned to rezone 0.751 acres located on State Road 621 Loblolly Drive in the Tunstall Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be consolidated with an adjacent parcel zoned A1. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On September 3rd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Brenda Rogers is here to represent the petition.
Thank you. At 8:25, I'll open the public hearing for case R-24-019. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
At 8:25, I will close the public hearing in case R-24-019. Mr. Ingram, the pleasure is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case R-24-019, I make a motion approving the rezoning of a total of 0.751 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow property lines to be adjusted.
Second.
Oh, we got a motion by Mr. Ingram, second by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. We're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Property is being rezoned. All right, that's all of our zoning cases. Moving to 10B, other public hearings. Each person addressing the board on the public hearing shall step up, give his or her name, district, and his or her place of residence for a non-county citizen in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall be limited to his or her address to 3 minutes. Speakers for a group shall be limited to 10 minutes. Speakers shall include their remarks at that time unless the consent of the board is affirmatively given, extended to speakers' allotted time. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. Moving to our first public hearing on the Simpson Energy Center. Ms. Ragsdale.
Mr. Chairman, board members, we have Chris Myers here, who is with East Point Energy, who is going to give you a quick presentation on the siting agreement. Tonight, you all are voting whether to approve or deny the siting agreement that has been negotiated with East Point Energy for a battery storage facility located on Spring Road in the Stanton River District. So I will turn it over to Chris Myers at this time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Myers, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Supervisors, Chair, Vice Chair. Very happy to be here. Thank you for your time. Is my deck ready? Okay. There we go. Great, thank you. And to be clear here, I think Mr. Ragsdale said we are talking about tonight the siting agreement, which is, again, a financial agreement between East Point Energy and the county if we were to move forward. We're also in parallel with, again, having negotiated this siting agreement, going through a discretionary permitting process for a special use permit. That was in front of the Planning Commission 2 weeks ago. We're going to have another Planning Commission hearing in November, and then, again, for the Board of Supervisors. So, to be very clear here, I'm also going to be talking about the project to give you some details to understand about it, but again, my understanding is our focus tonight is whether or not more on the financials of the siting agreement, not necessarily specifics of the project regarding its location, setbacks, etc. Okay? Wrong direction. So, I think I mentioned a little bit of that. I will also cover how the community outreach we've been doing so far, specific to the project, talk about a little bit our company and what is in energy storage in general. East Point Energy, we are based up, our company, in Charlottesville, Virginia, just up the road 2 hours or so. We are specifically focused on energy storage, battery energy storage. We do not do solar. This is a standalone energy storage project. I want to make that very clear. In your agenda, it talks about solar. We're not a solar project. We have nothing to do with a solar project at this project site. Our company does not do solar, okay? I want to be very clear with that. We have developed some of the initial projects in Virginia. One of the first energy storage projects that became online, that was back in 2020 with the Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. This is actually a picture of that. Very small project, only 2 enclosures. But the most recent, the largest project, which is also named, it's named Dry Bridge Energy Center, which is in Chesterfield County and is owned and operated by Dominion, but we developed it. All of these projects have had no safety issues and are executing and supporting the electrical grid like they should be. This is our management has worked with extensive amount of utilities throughout the United States. You'll see here Dominion serves a lot of your residents. Again, we've worked with them, sold them projects, and they only buy our projects or bought our projects in the past because they believe, again, in the quality of the project we developed. Energy storage in general. Gentlemen, I think you might have been educated on this a little bit in the past, but you do have a project that you're with Danville that was approved for your industrial center. But basically, they look like a lot like substations, excuse me. What you see here, though, is a rendering. This is not what our project would necessarily look like. What you have here is basically in the middle, looking like trucking containers. Those are what hold the batteries. And the batteries and the types of batteries that go into them, the chemistry, which is usually called like a lithium ion, that's what goes in them at this point in time. Very similar basically to the same chemistry battery that you have in your iPads right here, the cell phones that you sleep by, going in electric vehicles. Stable, safe, okay? Used a lot, we use it all. These installations, they charge up with power from the transmission grid, so they need to be near a substation or a transmission line to be able to charge their batteries, and then they discharge those batteries at a later time when there's higher demand. Usually we're charging our batteries late at night, think about 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. when there's not a lot of demand. And you're discharging it later in, let's say, afternoon, think August, hot afternoon, air conditioning, everybody's coming home, turning that in. That's when the peak demand and stress is on the grid. It's also when the power is most expensive, okay? So we're basically buying cheap power at late at night and moving that power temporarily into a different part of the day, reselling that. Our business model is we make the profit, the arbitrage on that, okay? So I want to go back real quick. What you will see here, though, also is there's a fence. You have basically clear space between the fence and then trees, security fence. You do not see it's like a chimney, a smoke chimney. We're not burning a fossil fuel again on here. We're not storing chemicals or anything like that that generate the electricity that go into it. Again, we're just connecting to the electricity grid. These things we wanted to be in the background. There are nobody there. All right, there's no operators there. They're all remotely controlled. And basically, they should be not seen nor heard. We don't want people playing on them. Security is a big issue for us. These are very expensive operations, and we want them operating safely and securely. Benefits. These do not send children to school. They do not need police resources. They will basically sit there and generate tax revenue. So this is not the solution for all your tax revenue. This is not a huge data center, but like a per acre use of your land here is going to generate a lot of tax revenue. Additionally, if you're going to be adding a lot of data centers into your county here or other industrial growth that is going to be needing a lot of electricity, you need more basically equivalent generation. If not, you're going to be having a lot of transmission lines having to be built to serve those data centers. This is what you're seeing up in Northern Virginia. Okay, that's kind of the indirect kind of unexpected consequence of all these data centers. These battery energy storage basically store that power and reduce that need for that transmission. This one project is not going to solve your problem, but you have multiple projects like that. This basically can help meet that new demand that you're pressing on you're putting on the electricity grid. Finally, they do add electric service reliability. This is not going to help you if a tree line falls in your distribution line between your house and our battery energy center. However, if a energy generation plant, let's say like a coal-fired plant or a combined cycle gas plant, happens to go offline during an emergency, during a storm. We saw this happen 2 years ago during Winter Storm Elliott. That happened. Temperatures got really cold. They diverted the natural gas from the electricity generation plants to home heating, and they basically stopped making electricity when electricity demand went up. These types of these types of energy storage centers basically will help replace those if those go off online and ensure that there's reliability throughout your electricity grid. Okay. Safety, very big concern and one of the most, I think, largest concerns of neighbors, the community, et cetera, with these projects. We take this very seriously. It starts from even before these batteries get input into our enclosures. They get checked. coming out of the factory. They get checked when they get put into the enclosures, and then even before we can turn this energy center on, they all get checked again to make sure the energy center fits with the electricity grid. We have to design and implement these things based on codes. There's federal state codes that we have to follow. There's international fire codes. You see here one listed 24. There's also what's called the National Fire Protection Agency 855. This is a code specific to battery energy storage systems that was developed by fire professionals. It is evolving every 3 years or so. Again, to meet the technology is evolving too, to meet that new technology and how it's functioning. We plan on using that code to develop this site, to create the emergency response plans, et cetera. And we'd be part of we understand at least our site plan review. Are we meeting this code or not in order to, again, ensure safety? There's 24/7 monitoring. So basically, there is levels after levels of safety checks that go happen in this operations, and even before we start construction, during construction, and again, once it's operational, to ensure, one, these don't have an accident. Unfortunately, if there are also checks in place so that we call what we call fail safely. Okay? So these enclosures are fire rated, all right? They're designed to not allow that fire to escape and jump to another enclosure, et cetera. They're designed to basically vent out to reduce the potential for explosion. You have, unfortunately, what becomes basically, and this is not like we like it either, but equivalent of a house fire. That's the equivalent of the toxicity and the potential for contamination, okay? There's been extensive tests done on where there's been fires in the past on these things, and by government institutions. They not have found, again, toxicity in the ground from any kind of water contamination, or again, obviously you don't want to be putting your mouth and inhaling the gases straight out of the enclosure, but same thing like with a campfire, okay? We take this very seriously, and again, I'll explain how we've been working with your fire officials to this point. Getting the specifics now of Simpson Energy Center though. All right, the size of this is what we call 60 megawatts, and what that actually means is that it's equivalent and can supply electricity to about 20,000 homes for 4 hours, okay? In the siting agreement that we'll go over a little bit later, more specifics, we're basically allowing for $900,000 of capital payments before operations on different milestones payments, and then once it's operational, it'll be equivalent of $2.2 million in total payments over 20 years, okay? This is a rendering of the project. In general, this is what you would see. You see the enclosures. There are switching stations and substations that connect to the transmission lines. You would have a stormwater pond. This is showing it. Maybe it's most likely to be a dry pond. There are homes further to the north, which I'll show you on a map here. And then you would enter, and there would be a driveway. As you can see here, though, it would be secluded. You would not be seeing it from even the homes nearby, nor the Air Spring Road. This is the general location. We're, again, northeast of Gretna. We're in, again, Supervisor Dudley's district here. More specific, again, here's his overlaying on a kind of a Google crow's eye view of the area. You can see the energy center there. Again, the transmission lines are coming north-south there on that left side. It's about 16 acres, and right now we're expecting the footprint to be. That's the size of the impact of it. There'd be a stormwater, again, catchment control at the south side of it. We would enter from the eastern part. There's a driveway there off of Spring Road. And again, no one's going to see this off the road. And we're 400 feet from the nearest house, okay? 250 feet, I think, 200 feet from the parcel property line. All right, from a community outreach perspective, we sent introductory letters out to, I won't say the whole neighborhood, but at least all the residents on Spring Road. This was back in February. We know that some people received them because we did receive a call from one of the neighbors, okay? We had meetings with emergency responders. We started in February before we even turned in the application, and then we had another meeting in September, and that was with the fire marshal's office and staff. I just had a meeting last night with Chief Meeks and the volunteer fire department and the Hurt volunteer fire department. We've committed to doing another meeting with the Gretna volunteer fire department, and if the chief will have me, I'm happy to attend the fire commissioners meeting in November. This is what we consider the first start of this. If this moves to be able to be constructed, We would have emergency response planning trainings, et cetera, that would happen before operations even get going. We sent a second set of project letters out to neighbors before the Planning Commission hearing. We did hear back from folks that they did get those letters. We had a community meeting with a small group of the neighbors before the Planning Commission hearing, and we did knock on doors on some of the residents on Spring Road, and I did speak with some of the residents during that. We will be holding another community meeting on October 28th. We understand that not as many people received the letters as they wanted to and wanted more information. We're happy to be holding that meeting at Hurt Elementary School, or we're just waiting for confirmation from the schools about that meeting. Finally, we did build a website also, and that's been up. So, gentlemen, here are the siding agreement specifics. Again, you'll see the milestone payments here. If it is executed, there's a first payment of $60,000. Things get bigger as we get closer, up to $900,000. To be very clear, we will not start construction on this and probably submit a site plan application until the next 3 or 4 years. We have to do a study with the transmission utility, basically, and that study process takes 3 years. Only after then will we know if we're going to be able to build this project, and unfortunately that's just kind of how the electricity grid works right now and how they're planning. We have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars during that time to do that study, and that is why we've scheduled out some of these payments. Obviously, as a business, we can't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars if we know we're not going to do a project. All right? We are committing, though, a substantial amount of money, basically not knowing we're going to do this project, and I hope they recognize it. I think importantly, there is significant amounts of money here before this becomes operational, and that we have specifically in the siding agreement that we would hope, and this is up to you all, you guys control your budget, but that a lot of that money would go to support the volunteer fire department and other fire emergency rescue needs that they feel like they need in order to respond to this if necessary. Okay? All right. I think we go to public comment next, or I can answer questions right now.
You've got a question for this gentleman? Mr.
Yes.
Tuck? Yes.
Thank you, sir, for being here tonight and making the presentation. Tell me exactly what attracted you to Pennsylvania County.
So we look to site these energy centers, energy storage centers, we're looking for parcels of land adjacent to existing electrical infrastructure, so transmission lines and substations, okay? We're looking to where there is, in the whole electricity grid, there's going to be a lot of demand or congestion. So the fact that you're bringing more data centers into here means there's going to be more congestion and demand. There's going to be a higher opportunity, higher peak prices, and more ability for us to basically, again, have a higher margin basically and compete.
But as I understand it, this is not the answer to the data center's need
We
for
are
supply
not.
of
There's
power.
not a wire between us and the data center. No.
Okay.
And so it's reacting to the larger demand on the electricity grid, basically, and seeing that we have forecasts out, analysis out that look at 8 to 10 years. All those analyses take into consideration all the other industrial and commercial development that's happening in the region area. It's looking at where there's transmission bottlenecks also, so where there's a lack of transmission or old transmission also.
What area you actually in have a footprint so that we can maybe go take a look at what we're proposing to sell the constituents here?
Sorry, how big is how big is our footprint going to be, or how big of a footprint do we look around?
I want to know if you have another facility that we can take a look at and say this is a success story.
Yeah, the nearest facility is one of the ones I think I referenced before for you, which would be up in Chesterfield County, sir. That would be the closest to maybe what we're attempting to build or proposing to build. There are no other...
Hang on one second. You're saying proposing to build. Do you have a completed project, sir?
We've built projects...
That's an easy question, yes or no?
So yes or no.
Do you have a completed project, sir?
We have a project that's finished construction.
Do you have a completed project, sir? And I'm not trying to be contentious. I'm trying to make a point because before I sit and vote on something like this, I would want to take a look at it.
Right. So I think from a development perspective, sir, we've developed projects where we got the permits. Right.
Sir, excuse me, 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. I know the difference between a development and also speculators, okay?
Okay. Excuse me, sorry, I didn't know you're there, sir. The only project that we have operational is basically down in Texas.
Okay.
That we own and operate.
Can we point to it in terms of being a success story? Your operation in Texas that you
Yes,
just
there's one
mentioned.
operational in Texas, sir.
Is that a success story?
Is it successful? It's very early days, sir, but we haven't had any safety
Thank
issues.
you. I think you've answered my
Yes,
question,
sir.
which is a non-answer. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the presentation. And we've got a lot of folks here to talk. My question is, could you come to my house in the morning and answer my phone? Because I've been on it all day long, I can promise you, with the folks that's in this audience. And Darrell can attest to the fact that I got 8 phone calls while we was in work session today. These folks, they're not educated on it, and it's not that they're dumb, but they need to have some information to go on. Other than that, they hear lithium ion, they think fire, and I've got timber close by. Is it going to put off chemicals? My question is, have you met, I ain't talking about sending stuff out, have you met with the people in a location to this point? You're presenting it us tonight, but have you met with them? I mean, you'd think you'd meet with them prior to any kind of bringing it to us.
Yeah. So the Friday before the Planning Commission meeting, sir, I met with 3 people at the B&B market. I arranged that meeting with them a week beforehand. I invited them to invite other folks. This was Keith Scruggs, Jerry Barker, and another neighbor, sir.
Yes, sir.
That was the Friday before the Planning Commission hearing.
Okay, I talked to Keith yesterday, and I talked to him today. Keith is absolutely against it. Hey,
I
just
understand.
we're straight up.
Spoken with Keith.
Tell me the benefit to the people in the locality.
Benefit to keep the locality, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. You're going to have a contribution to your tax revenue base, sir. Okay. I'm not going to say that in the whole scheme of things that's substantial, but it is basically a contribution that doesn't have a lot of needs associated with it.
Yes, sir.
Second piece is we're talking on their electricity bills.
Yes, sir.
Because we're adding more competition. You're seeing cents on the dollar. Okay. This is a smaller project, but you're seeing cents on the dollar basically per month off of their utility bill. Thirdly is if you have another huge extreme winter storm that comes through and more extreme events like this type of infrastructure located in your county can help ensure that you guys have the lights on. All right? You don't have generation, you don't have projects like this, you don't have electrical infrastructure in your county, and you're going to have big demands on the data centers.
I see what you're saying, but now that during a major storm, and I'm just telling you, that's where I used to work, power company. During a major storm, if the line's down, that battery plant ain't gonna do you a bit of good.
Like I said, sir, right, it's not gonna help on the lines, but yeah.
You know, I'm just thinking about the folks, and I know it's not gonna reduce their bill. A lot of elderly folks called me today, and they said a lot of folks just don't like to get out and drive at night. Let's just be honest. And I promised them, they're the ones that voted for me. I promised them I'd talk for them tonight, and that's what I'm doing. Is there, you mentioned something about gases in the enclosure, okay? Do you want to explain that out to the folks? Because I think if there is a fire, folks are scared that these gases will come out and harm them. So this is why I say meet with them before you come to me. I'm just saying that, you know, not 3, I'm talking groups. So, but you can answer that, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So regarding the gas, basically with a lithium ion battery cell, if it is punctured or has some kind of chemistry event, it gets short-circuited from water coming in or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Right. It releases gases that are become flammable that, again, can then burn, okay? And those gases get released. There's usually, again, in a lot of these now, there's sparkers. So just like you're on your barbecue grill, you hit that button, it sparks.
Yes, sir.
That burns that gas off, and then you see a flame and smoke.
Yes, sir.
That's how we safely deal with it.
Okay.
Real quick, sir, that's how we currently deal with it. 4 or 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years in the future, we'll probably have a different battery chemistry and have a different type of system.
Okay. And another question that you stole my thunder and I didn't like it. You asked where we could go to. This is in my, we asked where we could go to look at one. I'm not going to Texas, so I'm just saying.
I can say, sir, we permitted 2 in Lynchburg. I don't think those are going to be built until 2026, though.
Okay.
Okay. I've permitted just 3 up in Northern Virginia. Those all went 8-0 on consent agendas.
Yep.
Not saying I'm expecting that here, sir, but just so you know, we have permitted a lot of other projects.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
If no one else is going to ask any questions, let me jump in here one last time. And let me preface this by saying, here in Pennsylvania County, most of the residents are maybe not aware, but we have capacity for electricity. We're not starving for energy here. The state of Texas actually has experienced a myriad of problems with energy. And, and we can talk about, the winter storm that took out all of the power and shut them down, or we can talk about the air conditioning that, put them in the dark. Either way, I would see Texas in terms of being fertile ground for your particular type of setup, okay? But I don't see, and when you tell me something's going to change and as fast as technology is changing in that arena, so you're saying it's going to be 2-3 years before you're going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in Pennsylvania County. It sounds like a speculation. You're just trying to get the actual permit in place, if I'm understanding you correctly, which I think I am. But, in the same breath, you're saying that the potential is that this technology is going to change, and all of a sudden, by the time you get it built, it's obsolete. So, help me to understand that. And just my mind, I'm trying to get my mind around this thing.
All right. Very good question, sir. Thank you. So, just like our cell phones have, again, evolved, our computers have gone faster, et cetera, the technology's evolved.
Totally
like that.
get it, sir.
Okay. So, the need for energy storage, though, sir, is not going to go away. The type of the battery or the chemistry, maybe how aligned, it is getting denser. You're seeing smaller footprints. The enclosures are getting tighter. All that is happening at a rapid rate. Okay. Virginia Clean Economy Act that the state government approved is mandating 3.1 gigawatts of this.
Sir, I know green energy is not going to get the job done for data centers.
Well,
I'm there. Just explain to me
and
how
these batteries, though, they balance out basically where obviously when the sun goes underneath the cloud, the solar panels stop making energy, and guess what kicks in? The batteries. When the wind energy off the coast stops blowing, then these kick in and fill that gap. That's why we're basically needing it, sir. Did I answer your question, or?
Yes, sir. I'm going to cut to the chase.
Okay, I will just say,
here's my problem.
Okay.
Our county right now has been sought out because we have a lot of agricultural property. It's flat land and it's fertile soil for solar farms. We have these solar farms, and these solar farms are not doing or producing what we were told that they were going to produce. I've taken a lot of heat with that. So now, if you come to me and you're saying, I want to put this type of project in Pennsylvania County, I apologize if I sound a little hard on you, but I want to vet this thing out before we sign up.
So, completely understand that. Very logical, sir. Getting back to, we basically are going to have to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the study process, like I said, that it takes, unfortunately, 3 to 4 years. We are willing to commit a little bit of money at the start here, but from an investment perspective and running a business perspective, we can't sign $1 million signing agreement with you all and pay it all up front when we don't know if we're actually going to do the project. Okay? And that is mostly related to, again, we have to basically negotiate with Dominion and the utilities for how much transformers, how many other upgrades we have to make to the broader system in order to connect our project. Okay? And we don't know that number, if it's 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, until they finish that study process. Okay? Regarding what you're going to get from us, this siting agreement is very specific. It doesn't matter how we perform. If we're making money or not, it doesn't matter. The revenue share agreement is fixed. You've fixed your amount of what you're getting from us, at least in this agreement. It doesn't matter if we're not doing M&T taxes, we're not doing real property tax, or we pay real property taxes, we're not doing personal property taxes. If we figure out how to, if it goes down or it goes out in value, but our agreement, which we have here negotiated with you, is for a fixed payment amount each year. I don't think that answers, just, that's how at least we, from a financial perspective, we're going to perform. I will tell you, this is not bringing jobs, operating jobs, anything like that. Again, these are remotely monitored.
I understand that.
You might have a maintenance job. You'll have maintenance guys come and cut the grass, etc. That's what you're going to get from, or they're not going to get a job perspective here.
Yes, sir.
Job benefit.
I'm through.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bowman, got a question, sir?
Did you have a question?
Did you have one?
That's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. I do. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that presentation. So I've got a few questions. I like the discussion down here from my colleagues. So on the second slide there, you had partners, Electric Cities, North Carolina. What kind of relationship do you have with those folks, Electric Cities? Just curious.
Our founders did work with them, utility projects with them. They bought.
I'm sorry, speak it up.
Our founders of our management, the management of our company, sold them a project or built a project with them or operated a project with them.
I'm sorry, I don't have my hearing aids. Speak up just a little bit.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, sir. Let me drink a little bit of water. The founders of our company worked in the energy sector for a long time before starting this in 2017.
Okay.
This is one of the companies that they worked with and sold a project to and or operated a project with.
So are you telling me North Carolina has a project?
They have battery energy storage projects, not one from us, though. This was from when the founders, they did solar and wind energy projects before.
Okay.
And that was a different company. And after they sold that company, it was very successful, again, working with all these different companies, then they started East Point Energy.
Okay. And the reason I ask you that is because I'm familiar with Electric Cities in North Carolina. So I'm just kind of following up on what Mr. Tucker's talking about. Do you have a facility already established so we might take a look at? So my question here is these batteries, how long do they last? And what I saw earlier on here, the batteries, if you have 20,000 homes, these are good for like 4 hours. So with that being said, how are these batteries again, I may have missed this, but how are they recharged?
Right, so the batteries are connected to, the whole system's connected to the transmission grid. So the transmission line.
Okay.
They basically take the power off the transmission grid, charge, again, usually late at night, fill up, and then again, when there's demand, they make the arrangement with the transmission grid to discharge their batteries and put that power back on the grid.
Okay. So there are no solar panels?
There are no solar panels, sir.
Okay, so here's my question.
This is not directly connected to a solar farm. There are solar farms that have hybrid approaches where they have these batteries also associated with them. But this project is not like that. We are not building solar on this parcel.
Okay, so my question, and I'm kind of a simple man when it comes to this because I'm not an electrician like Mr. Dudley is. So the batteries are charged by electricity, right? So when we have a ice storm here, or a snowstorm, and these power lines are taken down, how are these batteries going to get charged again?
Well, these are connected usually to the transmission lines, sir, again. So,
but the lines are down.
Your distribution lines are usually the ones that, again, gather the ice, have the trees fall them, etc. You might see your distribution lines usually have very large right-of-ways that are maintained very actively by Dominion or whoever owns that, and to ensure that nothing falls on them. So the probability of a transmission line going down is very unlikely.
Well, that's the same probability that Hurricane Helene.
And they have gone down in California. They have gone down in Louisiana, sir, too.
Okay.
So I'm not going to tell you that it's not the case that it can't happen.
I understand.
But it's highly unlikely.
So I'm just kind of curious about how that cycle works. All right, last question I've got. 2.2 million over 20 years, my math says $100,000 a year.
110,000 a year.
Yes, it adjusts, basically it escalates 5% or 10% every 5 years. This is a state mandated amount, basically.
Okay.
That's how that got calculated, sir.
Okay, so
And
your
it's-
meeting's going to be October 28th at the Hurt Elementary School. What time is that meeting?
That meeting's going to be at 7 o'clock, sir.
7 p.m., okay?
I
Thank you.
have
That's-
shared, I think, with the clerk and the planning department and the fire department, the flyer for it.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Ingram, you have a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. What would cause a fire or subsequent explosion?
So what has, we're looking to do root cause analysis of a number of them has been when there is basically a leak from the enclosure in the top that comes into the enclosure, shorts out some of the electrical equipment and that causes the fire. Additionally, you have 1 out of every 10 billion cells could have a failure that would generate a runaway event that would then cause a fire also.
So like what the Israelis did by way of the pagers and radios, it would be pretty much the same thing, but on a larger scale. These bad boys could explode and do a tremendous amount of damage. Is that a fair statement?
If there was to be an explosion, sure, yes. You could have, real quick, so that there has been, basically, that's only when it happens when there's a buildup of gas, though,
Right.
okay?
And I was going to ask you, do you have any data to support the fact that even though there would be toxic fumes released within this community, how detrimental would that be to our citizens?
I don't
what you could do about it? I noticed you indicated there was a local fire partnership. I've got a couple of calls from some firemen, and they're not satisfied with that.
Okay, well, what I can tell you, sir, is there's been battery energy storage fires. Obviously, this is why you're bringing up this concern. There's been a number of them that were studied up in New York. The officials did all the analysis, and they actually stopped building and a moratorium on them until this analysis was done. I can send you the results of that back in, it was finished last December. And basically, they found that there was no toxic contamination or human health impacts from the smoke that came off of these fires there. There's recently been more fires in California on a couple of these. We're talking thousands of different projects now, though, sir. So, I mean, the probability of this is low. When there has been, though, again, further testing has been done, and all of the testing that is done has been shown no human health impacts from either, again, water contamination or some smoke in the air.
So since you can't put it out with water, how do you control it or contain it?
So how do I control?
Yeah, let's say there was a massive fire, and since you cannot put out these fires with traditional fire methods like with water, how do you control it or contain it?
So the control is basically there's now vents in place that allow the fire to escape. And so imagine like you basically have a barbecue.
Yeah.
These enclosures are all basically like a barbecue or in fire rated, tested to hold the fire within, okay? And not to escape outward. It escapes up, it smokes out, and it's enclosed in that, basically, and then basically kept in that enclosure. That's the kind of fail-safe that's been designed. This is all based on industry learnings over the last 5 or 10 years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Dudley, you have no question,
Yeah, I
sir?
think you answered the question. You are connected with transmission, correct? Not distribution.
So
There's a difference. Transmission comes off the dams, distribution comes out of the substation.
So let me, further elaborate on that. We are connected to the transmission, the batteries, for the majority of the power that comes out.
Okay, yeah.
We are connected to the distribution network to maintain all other systems. So the HVAC, the fire alarm systems, all the other operating systems there, if that makes sense, sir.
Yes.
There's usually also then obviously a backup source of power like a propane generation tank or something like that if in case the distribution line fails.
That's correct. Distribution comes out of the substation, and it comes in 3 phases, and then they'll split from there. Transmission comes off the dams, feeds the substation, and then distribution goes out from there. I think the only way that you put a fire out with lithium ion, basically, firemen in here can answer the question, but I think you basically watch it burn. Is that what it is? And soak it around it until.
So again, with the current systems in place, sir, and the current technology in place, the guidance is to, protect the exposures and let it burn. Okay,
Yes.
so your job is as a firefighter is not to go try to put it out. Your job is to stand by, stay at a safe distance away, and spray down all the, again, make sure
Thank
that
you,
it
sir.
doesn't
Thank you.
spread.
Any more questions? Are we good? All right. I think we're good right now, Mr. Myers. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Myers.
All right. At 9:05, I'm going to open the public hearing on Simpson's Energy Center. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. Clarence Oaks.
No, it's not.
Welcome, Mr. Oaks.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Clarence Oaks,
Would you, Mr. Oaks, pull the mic down good so the people
There you
hear you?
go.
Thank you, sir.
and I live in the Standing River District on Spring Road. And I'm here tonight to voice my opinion that I'm opposed to this battery plant because of the hazard that it's making cause. Because I've heard the places where some of these fires, that some of them caught a fire and last for 5 days or more, and the water will not put it out. And also, he said he sent a letter in February and September to people to let them know they're going to have a meeting. Well, I didn't know nothing about this till the day before they had the meeting. And for that, one of the guys where he met with come and told me. And I've talked to a lot of people who live right around me, and nobody else had never seen no letter of information. And my main concern for this opposing is for the safety of me, my family, my friends, and neighbors who lived in the neighborhood near this plant. Now, I live this place where I live just a little way down the road where they were supposed to put it for 76 years. And another thing gets me, the people who want to put these plants in and everything, they don't live nowhere close by. To me, if a person want to put it, they ought to have enough confidence to live down next to it instead of putting it off somewhere they don't live. And I think that and to me, the safety of me, my family, and the community is more important than the money they can get from all this stuff. I mean, that's my opinion. I just don't think much of it, and I'm opposed to it because I done heard and done read things. And me, he done told where he gonna mail these letters and things. Well, find things why nobody got none. What it is, they want to come in here and put this stuff down and get out and get the money. That's all they interested in. Thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Oaks.
Jimmy Hendricks.
Welcome, sir.
Thank y'all for having us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jimmy Hendricks. I'm also with Staten River District. I'm opposed to this for main reasons everybody here already spoke of, among others. My biggest thing is, like he's done said, it catches on fire, it burns. Well, he done said, well, if water gets in, it leaks. Well, smoke's going to get out of it. We all know that it's toxic. It's all over the internet. It's all over the internet. They catch on fire. It ain't like it's any secret. It's a fairly new technology. As he said, they've only been doing it for 4 years. I think he said he got started in 2020. He's only got one project up and running. I'm not willing to risk my life or my family's life just because they want to bring something in new and make some money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Patsy Hendricks.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, board. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
My name is
ma'am.
Patsy Hendricks. I live on Spring Road across from where they're potentially going to put the batteries. And we have not received no letters at all about the thing. I want to say that I oppose it for safety issues, first of all. Lithium battery storages can pose a danger due to the risk of the fire, explosion, and toxic gases. Our fire departments are not equipped to handle anything like this. They haven't been trained and they do not have equipment. I saw on the internet where a fire chief in California said that these containers do not have any use of being anywhere within a half a mile of any residence. This one's going to be in the backyard of some people's homes. There is an article on FEMA website about the hazards of the system. It talks about not being able to put the fire out and the toxic gases that are released. These toxic gases are like hydrogen, fluoride, chloride, carbon monoxide, and other gases that cause severe lung damage and health issues that you might not know you have until years later. They're talking about like 20-some acres. Well, it's zoning for like 200 acres. So if it's passed, we will end up having 200 acres of these containers in our yard next to us. I think everyone, the board and the committees should think about the welfare and the safety of all the residents and not about all the money that's going to be passed around. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Carrie Snyder.
Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Schneider. I'm in the Callens-Gretna area. I do not live directly where this proposed site is, but I have many relatives that are on Spring Road, Midway Road, and I live in the town of Gretna. If it broke out in a fire, all right, and you've got a lot of smoke, that smoke's going to travel many, many miles. It's not going to be contained. It's not going to be put out. It's going to burn for a long time. Believe you me, that smoke will travel many, many miles. As he said when he was talking about if it caught on fire, that they've got a little something or another that will put it out and it would produce a little bit of smoke. He said he wouldn't suggest anybody be there to sniff it because of the hazards. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. If it catches on fire and that smoke, there's going to be a lot of people sniffing that smoke. It is very hazardous. It is not healthy. My personal opinion, talking about all the solar plants, all the solar farms, they came in here, they kind of fooled y'all to a certain extent. I'm not saying y'all not smart. You are smart. But they put something out to y'all that y'all thought was going to be a wonderful thing, making a lot of money, producing energy, and it did not. As you said, it is not producing the way you thought it would. This right here, he is throwing, I heard him mention the dollar amount several times. Y'all are going to get this amount. Y'all are going to get this amount. Even if even if it doesn't come to fruition, y'all are going to get this amount, this amount. They want it passed so they have that opportunity. And I fear that it's going to be another one of those smoke and mirror type things that's going to be very dangerous for the community. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Susan Oakes.
Welcome, ma'am.
My name is Susan Oakes, and I live on Spring Road as well. I've been there about 20 years. My father-in-law is Clarence Oakes. He has had a farm there. He has, a big garden, and I'm totally against the facility. The lithium is not good. Water does not put it out. Of course, we have it in our cell phones, our computers. It's a small battery. You think of these, 16 to 20 acres, maybe 193 acres. If it catches on fire and burns 5 days, what is that going to do? My father has a lot of health issues, and I know it's not good. Number two, the response time from the fire departments. We're kind of split area, so it would be 3 different fire departments. It used to be a house on this parcel of land. It burned to the ground. So what does that mean for 16 to 20 acres of battery storage facilities? I never received a letter. And let's just say we do decide to develop this. What happens if this company goes out of business? They'll be sitting there, decomposing, leaking lithium out. Just please consider all of our concerns.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Justin Brown.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Justin.
My name's Justin Brown. I'm in the Stand River District. Good afternoon. I live at 5424 Blue Ridge Drive on the corner of Spring Road in a little subdivision called Sky Blue Acres. I'm not for us having this lithium battery storage facility right down the road from my house. I spoke at the Planning Commission on Tuesday, October the 1st, I do believe. I told them the dangers of the fire that could take place, just like in May of 2024, one burnt for 5 days, like a lot of people have already spoke about. And the suppressors that was already built into that one, like he told the Planning Commission that it would be built into these, and it did not put it out. If something burns for 5 days, the emissions and toxins that are going to go into the air and could be extremely harmful for our community. A lot of the people in my subdivision, Sky Blue Acres, are 70 plus years old, and they nor my children, which I have a 13-year-old and a 5-year-old, need to be breathing this. With putting water around in the area to keep things cool from spreading, you will have oversprayed, no doubt, on accident. And any toxin spread in the battery that is on the fire that will possibly run down into the creeks that run in on the property and into the large pond. Well, we all know small creeks run into larger ones and the rivers and end up being someone's drinking water. Also, all the roads that they will have to travel in our area are small and not in the best of shape already. Hauling construction equipment in and out, along with 70 plus batteries, which are large and heavy, will not only be dangerous when traveling on the roads, but our small roads will not be able to take the wear and tear, and will evidently mean it will cost more money to fix them. One last thing I told Mr. Dudley this morning on the phone. Too many things don't sound right. Number one, letters were sent out to the community. Like I said, I live right on the corner of Spring Road. I never got one. I know 3 people who did. 3 people. That's all that I know that got them. Fire department were supposedly told, we was told that they had been contacted, but they won't until last night. That's when they had the meeting. This is not how you start a relationship with the people in the community, by telling little white lies that always end up turning into bigger lies. If this project isn't already going, why is it being surveyed right now? Surveyors are actually on the property right now, being surveyed. Why is that? The risk does not outweigh the reward. When you're talking about being able to run 20,000 homes for 4 hours, that's not much.
3 minutes is complete.
Thank you, sir.
Sam Parsons.
Welcome, sir.
Hello there. How
Hello,
you guys
Parsons.
doing?
Doing good.
Sam Parsons, Stanton River District. Thank you all for having us here.
Yes, sir.
As everyone has said before, we all worried about contamination and explosions and what's going to happen if they do it. I'm sure all of us saw in Florida 2.5 weeks ago when Helene went through and the EVs caught on fire in the floods, just burning in the water. It's ridiculous. Me, being a member of the Air Force and our cargo planes, we could not transport lithium batteries without being in special containers. As the best of my knowledge, civilian airlines will not allow lithium batteries in their cargo compartment at all. At all. Have to be transported on the ground. So these things are very, very dangerous. I've seen videos of people taking a little AA battery, opening it up, spreading it out, put a few drops of water on it, and it starts smoldering, and the next thing, poof, explosion. So they're very susceptible to any type of water. And we do get rains and stuff here also. Speaking of notification, my brother owns an acre of land right adjacent to this. He did not get a letter, I know for a fact. And he would have been here tonight, but he has a really bad cold. As far as this money they go, it doesn't sound like that much to begin with. I say let them keep it, we can do better. And as far as the power source goes, if Dominion really wants more power, let's go build us a couple more nuclear power plants. Today's technology, they are incredibly safe.
Yep.
And Dominion needs to look at that. Thank you all for your time and appreciate your questions.
Thank you, sir.
David Patterson.
Yeah. Welcome, sir.
My name is David Patterson. I live in the Bannister district, and though I live in that district, I'm only about a half a mile from where these are proposed to be. And my issue is I hear a lot about financial benefits, and I hear a lot about that, but I also heard 250 feet from the nearest road and 400 feet from the nearest household, and that just seems very, very crazy to me with all the risk that could happen. You know, these are hazardous things. I mean, he talks about they're not really a chemical. It is a chemical. And if that chemical gets into the Spring Road, which is based off of a spring, you know, then it's going to be bad for the water supply. It just is. And it's not good for people. The risk of a terrorist attack or anything, I mean, it's like he talked about the roads. I think it was Justin or somebody. But, I mean, the roads can't handle the trucks. The explosive capability. I mean, if we have another dry year like we did this past year, then, I mean, we're looking at a lot of damage, wildfires or whatever. I mean, it's contained by a little fence, and our fire department can't even contain this stuff, really. I mean, so it's just a lot of dangers, and it's a lot of uneasy. All my neighbors, and I haven't met one person for it. I see a lot of benefit for the company, and I see very little benefit for anybody else. And that's just basically what it is. I'm voicing my opposition because I don't want this. I could die tomorrow, and I wouldn't want this for the future generation on my road. I just wouldn't. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McCluster. I'm going to call for about a 5-minute recess. It's 9:23, and we'll reconvene in just a few minutes.
I think what they'll probably do, and I can't speak for them, I didn't realize that there was this much activity for this project. Yeah. I think. Right. Right. I mean, I wouldn't think. You know. Uh-oh. End of the meeting for me if that happens. Yeah. I don't know if as old as I am, I can move, but so quick to help you with that one, you might have to hit the ground. Well, no, I do something after the fact, but I don't think I'd be able to catch it while you're phone. I've had that happen twice in my career. One time a teller, it was called teller stores, and I was a teller, kicked out, and I went down like a rock. I had just this past year, my chair break, and I fell out. And then I was waiting on the customer loan guys one time, and I went to sit down, and it shot back, and I went, he said, I've been told, even though we're on recess, these things are still live in computers, so just be careful. I'm just talking about talking.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 9:33, and I'll reconvene our meeting. Ms. McCluster, who's our next on public hearing?
Ben Meeks.
Welcome, Mr. Meeks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all tonight letting me come up and speak. My name is Ben Meeks, and Chairman, I'd like to ask for 10 minutes on behalf of the fire department instead of 3. I'm here representing a group.
The full group? Oh,
yep.
Okay. That's fine.
Thank you, sir. All right, so as I said, my name is Ben Meeks. I am the fire chief at Gretna Fire and Rescue. I'm also the chairman of the Pennsylvania County Fire and Rescue Commission. I'd like to start off by asking the Board of Supervisors a question. I think I already know the answer that each of you would give, or at least I hope so. But my question is this. If you had a major project being proposed to be built in your district, wouldn't you want to know about it more than 2 or 3 weeks before it's supposed to be voted on by the Planning Commission or by you all tonight? Because as the fire chief of Gretna Fire and Rescue, I'm upset that I had to find out by a citizen at a local gas station in passing who was aware because he's an adjacent landowner to the battery storage project being proposed by East Point Energy on Spring Road. Spring Road lies in the first due area for fire and EMS response by Gretna Fire and Rescue. These batteries, if they catch fire, can burn for hours to days. One in California, as many people have said, burned for 5 days. They cannot be put out by water, but only cooled. In 2019 in Arizona, there were 9 firefighters severely injured. There must be a large number of water supply on site to even manage an incident like this, not to mention runoff and toxic smoke that could flood into homes that are less than a mile away, some 400 feet I've heard tonight. I met with a battalion chief from a neighboring city about these batteries facilities. This city has 18 of these boxes in their city, which is a much smaller project than what's being proposed tonight. He stated that they have to be able to flow 1,000 gallons per minute. That's their policy. So think about that, gentlemen, 1,000 gallons per minute in the country. They're not going to be near any municipal water supply. Where do you get that water from? What was more upsetting is the developers of this project told me that they had been meeting with the county admin, and I quote, fire officials, since February. But the actual firefighters that will be responding, aka the volunteers, didn't get a meeting presented until last night. By the way, after I started poking around and raising questions. And this was supposed to be voted on by the Planning Commission a week ago. Thank God the Planning Commission tabled the project another month for more information to be gathered. As the fire chief of the initial responders that would be responding, it was embarrassing to me to have citizens coming to me and complaining about the project and concerned about their safety instead of the county. I was completely unaware. I will give credit where it is due. East Point Energy held a meeting last night at the Hurt Volunteer Fire Department along with members from Gretna and answered many of our questions. But we still have many questions we need answers to and equipment that we will need to be purchased in order to protect this facility. Examples would be master streams and large diameter hose, bigger tanker trucks, those things. We are aware there's almost $1 million siting agreement that will be paid to the county over the time it takes to build this project. So my hopes and question is, will you all make sure that money is paid out to the fire departments that will be directly protecting this project if it's allowed to proceed? I know that's what the East Point Energy Company has recommended, at least to us. I'm not here to tell you all what to do with your money, but we have to have the right equipment to respond to an emergency at this facility, and the volunteer fire departments will be the ones responding to a fire at this facility. Also, I'm not here to tell the Planning Commission what to approve and not approve, but I will say that we need to make sure we have clear and open dialogue with all stakeholders involved when these projects are being proposed so that we can keep the citizens safe. I hope the county considers the volunteer fire departments a stakeholder when making decisions, since we will be the ones responding and putting their life on the line when an incident happens. Going forward, I'd like to recommend that the Fire and Rescue Commission be involved with projects of this nature. The Public Safety Department and the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Agency that would be responding directly to that property within that district. I will finish by saying that East Point Energy has not had any major incidents, but they only have one project online, as you heard tonight. We know there's been issues in other states with facilities owned by other companies like this one. There could be a large issue here. So I'm asking that if you approve this siting agreement, please enforce the agreement that they have to provide yearly training, as they have stated they will, because the solar farms all over this county that promised they would provide us training have not. To my knowledge, there's only been one training in this county, at least on the north end of the county, that is. We have to know how to respond to these facilities and access them and mitigate emergencies, or people will lose their lives. We respond to structure fires throughout the county all the time. Those are very dangerous incidents. As the gentleman just told you, representing this project earlier, that these would be equivalent to a structure fire if one was on fire. So let's look at that for a minute. I think there's roughly 60 of these boxes going to be on this site, so you're going to have 60 homes burning. But oh, by the way, you can't put these out with water like we do structure fires. They're going to be putting toxic fumes off that will not go out for hours or even days. I think landowners should be able to do what they want with their land, and if they follow proper procedures and permitting, they should be able to do that. But we have to be able to protect this facility and their investment, as well as the citizens in this county that live around these projects. These are the conversations that should have been happening all along with our actual first responders before putting all these large energy facilities, i.e. solar farms, etc., everywhere in this county. Just so you guys are aware, we have had 2 fires in the solar farm in Gretna within the last 2 years, and we've had 0 training on how to fight these fires. The roads were nothing but mud, and the grass was taller than the panels. I can promise you I won't put my guys in a dangerous situation again. They'll burn. But that's not easy for me to tell the citizens, because they want us to do something when we're there, because they don't want that smoke coming in their homes and threatening their homes. You can't just wing it when you're trying to fight fires at facilities like these, because then you will die. I hope this project doesn't follow suit as the solar farms have so far, being allowed to come build in our beautiful county and take all of our farmland and never do what they were supposed to do. I don't know, maybe these guys will be different with this company, but I wouldn't be willing to bet on you with that. Thank y'all, have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Shirley Anderson. Shirley Anderson.
Welcome, Ms. Anderson.
I am Shirley Anderson. I live on Spring Road. I am Stanton River District. This project is directly behind my home and my grandchildren's home. The only time that we had any record of any of this happening is when the gentleman walked up in my yard and spoke to my granddaughter and told her, "We're here to survey land for this project." They are now surveying land right behind my house. I could look at my back door, and I would like to know why they're surveying when nothing's been agreed upon, and I am totally opposed to this. My husband worked at a chemical plant. It puts off chemical fumes. It puts off chemical, like they said, the fires. They can't contain them, and the day that they put it in, I'm begging you all not to pass this. My land's going up for sale because I won't live around it, and I don't want my children or my grandchildren around it. And like you said, all of us are neighbors who've been living there all our lives. I never got a letter. I never got anything. The gentleman walked up in the yard because I could see where they're proposing to put these batteries at as well as I could see you all. It's directly right at the back of my home. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Crystal Atkins.
Welcome, ma'am.
My name's Crystal Atkins, and I live on Spring Road, pretty much directly across from where this project is supposed to go. Since it's so late, I'll just keep this short and sweet. I doubt if I need 3 minutes. I would just like to point out that Mr. Myers spoke earlier and was talking about, and I really love the fact that he was talking about fumes. And yes, he used his little quotations with his hands while he did it. And how safe, that it wasn't going to harm anybody. There had been studies done. Well, how long has these facilities been up and operational that these studies have been in? Not long at all. So we're talking about air and water safety from smoke and fumes and possible toxins that nobody has done any kind of study on. I mean, when we have drugs go through the FDA process, it takes years of study for any hazardous symptoms or anything to come up. This project, like many other ones, are getting snuck in. I did not receive anything, and like I said, I live directly, pretty much across from where this project is. And the only reason I knew about this meeting is because I saw it on Facebook. So there is really an issue with public knowledge about what's going on in this county. And as far as the benefits, I didn't hear one benefit that gentleman said that would benefit this county. As far as I know, we don't even have that many houses in this vicinity. It's not going to save me anything. Dominion is not going to give me any money. Everybody knows that. It's not going to save anybody any money. And it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us taxpayer money. In the end, it will. So instead of putting money towards something that may or may not work, that may or may not start in 3 or 5 years, but that everyone is opposed of, except for the one gentleman here that was, telling us about it, why don't we use that money and put it back into EMS, fire and volunteer agencies for what they need now? Because, like you said, nobody expected, a tornado in Dry Fork. Nobody expected a flood on a mountain in North Carolina. These things are going to happen, and this county is
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Carol Cates.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. First thing I want to do is thank y'all for the questions y'all had for that gentleman earlier. There was important, good questions. I thank you for that. And I can't think of anything I could ask that hadn't already been asked or talked about. So I'm just against it, and that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Is that all? All right, thank you. At 9:46 p.m., I'll close the public hearing for the Simpson Energy Center. Mr. Myers, would you like to follow up anything, sir?
Yes, I'd like to rebut a little bit. But first I want to acknowledge that I think all the people who have had the public comments here, those are very valid concerns. I understand that this is a new technology, a new use. Folks are not familiar with this. I would agree we could have done better before now of educating them about this. So I just want to acknowledge that I understand where they're coming from, those concerns, and if I was learning about something coming into my backyard, or even, again, if there's a regional backyard, I would have concerns also. That said, we met, and my apologies for not meeting with Chief Meeks and other volunteer fire departments before, but we met with your emergency response staff in February, started that conversation with them, okay? Met with them again in September, reviewed the application with them. These are your fire professionals that enforce your fire rules and civil codes. They reviewed our SUP application. We're following or exceeding all of the energy storage ordinance regulations that you're going to be voting on here and exceeding those. The staff, again, your experts that are reviewing all these projects for the SUP suggested approval, okay? So what I want you to think about, one, is we checked with all your experts. I will say, yes, we could have done a better job of educating folks, and we will continue to do that. But they said in the SUP process that this project should go forward. And that was their suggestion to the PC. I want to make sure we understand that I think we should also separate this. I think we should allow that process to continue. I am happy to defer this for another month. And this is the financial agreement, the signing agreement. We would like to basically, again, execute that community meeting that we've, again, set for October 28th. You're all invited. I believe I let your clerk know about that also, to pass that information. We're happy to come back in a month and discuss with you again that siting agreement and see where the community is at, and let us have the opportunity to continue that education. Finally, yeah, I'll just going to leave that there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Do we need a motion on this since he said he will be withdrawn? Is that correct? Or
Yeah, just make a motion to accept
to the
his
agenda.
postponement to next month with no penalty.
Okay, I'll make the motion as he's said in his statement. He's going to give it another 30 days. I will make a motion to postpone this for another 30 days, and we'll take it up then. That's my motion.
Motion by Mr. Dudley. I'll entertain a second.
I'll second it.
A second by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Height,
Yes.
All right, motion carries unanimous. Postpone it to next month. All right, we'll move to the public hearing number 2, the potential disposition of a public-owned property and public hearing of the Old Climax store. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hopefully, this will be a lot shorter than the last one. The board is the current owner of the Old Climax store site in the Callens-Gretna Magisterial District. It contains .61 of an acre, and we came into possession of this because a speculator bought this piece of property from a delinquent tax sale.
Right.
And then the building was in such a state of disrepair that we attempted to get him to secure the site and clean the site up, and he determined that the cost of doing so would greatly outweigh
Benefit.
the benefit of what he paid for it. So he deeded it back to the county. What the county staff is seeking under Virginia Code Section 15.2 1800B, you have to have a public hearing before you potentially dispose of publicly owned property. So county staff is asking you to conduct that hearing, and then if it's appropriate, we would like to advertise for the potential sale of this to the public to get this piece of property, it's a very small piece of property, back onto the tax roll and get it in the hands of somebody who will clean it up, maintain it, and hopefully pay a little bit of revenue to the county. So, Mr. Chairman, I encourage you to open the public hearing, listen to any comments pro or for or against it, and then if you so desire, to follow the motion in your agenda summary packet, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. At 9:52, I'll open the public hearing for the potential disposition of the public-owned property. Do we have anyone signed up?
yes, sir.
Okay.
John Towns? No? Okay. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
That's all? All right, thank you. All right, at 9:52, I'll close the public hearing in the potential disposition of a public-owned property.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to authorizing the county staff to advertise the property for sale to the public.
All right.
That is my motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Dudley, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Height. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, let me ask Mr. Hunt this. Does
sir.
that property have any historical value, and have the historical folks in the county taken a look at it?
Although it was a staple of that community, I'm not sure it has any historic value. We actually used the county's blighted projects fund, and we removed the structure and the underground storage tank. So it's basically a blank slate now.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ingham. Any further? Not hearing any, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Height,
Yes.
All right, motion carries unanimous. Moving to item 11, do we have any unfinished business?
No, sir.
Any new business?
No, sir.
We don't have any matters from a work session.
No, sir.
And 14, our board member reports. Mr. Whittle.
Look out, man.
Yeah, just want to thank everybody for coming out, and I think it was a great meeting, and man, see y'all tomorrow. I mean, next month.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Whittle. All right, Mr. Bowman. You have anything, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to take 30 seconds of Mr. Whittle's time.
All right, cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Real quick, thank you to the Beautification Committee for coming out tonight and all the work they did putting this together. Wonderful job. And I want to thank personally my Chatham Post, American Legion Post 47 for participating in that. Let's see, I attended the Chamber Candidate Forum at DCC this past week. I want to say good luck to all those candidates running and all the incumbents. Election is November the 5th. Early voting is still in progress. And make sure if you're not registered to vote, you get out there and register and vote. Attended the Chamber Business After Hours at the B Hotel. Ann Moore Sparks with the Chamber did an absolutely wonderful job there getting the business leaders together. If y'all haven't been to the B Hotel, that used to be the old Register and B. It's a fabulous facility. Go there and check that out. Attended the county employees luau last Friday. Again, another great event there. Well deserved for the employees. Holly Cassie, I think you did a wonderful job pulling that together. So congratulations there. Reminder that this Sunday, October 20th, is Pennsylvania County's 10th Annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So congratulations to all the Class of 24 inductees. And remember our veterans on November the 11th. That is Veterans Day. And lastly, tonight, I would also ask for a special unspoken prayer for our family who is going through a very difficult time at this time. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Ingram.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, sir. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I wanted to speak on that and encourage those fighting this terrible disease to keep fighting. You have a lot of people that support you. And as a lifetime member of Danville, Pennsylvania Cancer, just reach out if you need some help. Roswell Elementary just celebrated their 20th reunion anniversary. My dear friend Peyton Sellers was the Virginia Triple Crown winner, which means he had the most points at South Boston Speedway, Langley Speedway, and Martinsville Speedway. And I think this is the third time he's been the Triple Crown winner here in Virginia. I want to thank my chairperson, Carolyn Herndon, for the trash pickup. We picked up 4 bags, 3 beer bottles, 2 liquor bottles, and a bumper. 24 years ago this month, the USS Cole was attacked by terrorists. And one of the 17 sailors that was killed was our local young man named Timothy Saunders, who lived in Ringo. Joined the Navy, was going to make it a career, and terrorists took his life. And there was also 37 sailors wounded that day. I'm so proud of the response to the tornado. We've already spoke about that, but once again, saying thank you is so inadequate. And I've just been so touched by the support of the hurricane victims. A lot of attention is in western North Carolina, but I have to speak up for Southwest Virginia. They tend to be overlooked, and they have a lot of damage as well. And I did want to touch on Gene McBride, the deputy that the chairman honored by naming a bridge after him. When I came to work for the sheriff's office, April the 1st, 1979, there was a small black and white picture in the deputy's room, and I asked the late Doug Collins, I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's Gene McBride." And I said, "What happened to him?" He said, "He died," and that's all he told me. So as time unfolded, I had the honor of doing the investigation on these matters, and Gene McBride was one of the more difficult cases because he wasn't shot and killed like most officers. You have a criteria, either killed in the line of duty or die in the line of duty, and his death was a line of duty death by way of a heart attack. And then late Junior Hughes, who was a nephew to the late Sheriff Taylor McGregor, who passed away 14 years ago this month, received the call to go support Mr. McBride, to back him up, and was there when Mr. McBride was suffering with his chest pains. Subsequently went to the hospital. That's where he passed away, and that's what categorized him as a line of duty death. And so I did want to speak of that. he still has a son and two daughters that's living and some grandchildren. But anyway, I did want to express my gratitude to the McBride family. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ingram. Mr. Bowman, you have something else, sir?
Ms. Dalton, I've got an alibi here. I failed to mention that a supervisor from Henry County was with us earlier tonight. She's left, Pam Cobbler, and I met with her last month. She told me she was coming out, and I totally forgot to recognize her, but I think I did inadvertently when Mount Hermon Church came up and I called her name. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming out here, making that trip from Martinsville to attend our meeting. She just came in here to observe, and I'm glad we were on our best behavior tonight. So thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Height? Thanks, sir.
Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in our cleanup day. That was a big success, I thought, especially in my district. They worked me so hard, I almost passed out. My sugar dropped.
Oh, my goodness.
The guys who was helping me was like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Uh-uh." But it was a great day. We had a lot of people turn out throughout the county. Once again, I'd like to reiterate and thank all the volunteers and paid staff that responded to the tornado. That was fast, efficient, and we really do appreciate it. And I think we were reminded tonight that we really need to look at this SOT team getting reorganized, whatever, because we were fortunate. We didn't get the 18 inches of rain here, but 75 miles, we could have been getting washed away. So we need to be prepared. And also just remind everybody, Mr. Bowman's already said it, November 5th, Election Day, vote. If you don't vote, don't complain.
Look at you.
That's good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Tucker, you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir. Very briefly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues, the Beautification Committee, all of the volunteers and those that participated in the cleanup. Great job. I want to thank all of the public that came out tonight to share their concerns, and also I want to thank the staff for all of their heavy lifting and making our jobs a little easier. Also, thank you to the first responders, whether you be paid or volunteer, we certainly appreciate and we support you. I also want to thank my colleagues. Being supervisors is a very challenging situation. You're grossly underpaid. It's a thankless position. But at the end of the day, our responsibility is to try to move the county forward and also forge a great relationship or partnership between the local governance and also the citizenry of Pennsylvania County. I also want to ask for a special prayer for Mr. Kevin Bumper's wife is going to go into surgery tomorrow. So, and he's part of our staff, so, we certainly want to remember her in prayer. Very interestingly, if you have an opportunity, a couple weeks ago I went down and there were a lot of locally elected officials and people from, the National Congress and State Senate. Henrietta Lacks, who is an African-American woman, she's deceased now. She is the mother of modern American medicine. So they did an unveiling of a statue in her honor. And if you're not familiar with it, though, she's responsible for the TLAC cells, okay, which basically cured polio. It's been all over the world. Her actual cells continue to multiply even after her death, and they continue to this day to multiply. So that statue is down there. It was a beautiful celebration. So if you're in South Boston, down there around Market Square, go by and take a look. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Dudley?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate everybody's patience this evening. It's been a long day. I ask everybody, I heard some prayer requests. My wife lost her Aunt Gladys Ward. We always called them Scrap and Gladys. She was like 96, 97 years old. She passed away. And just be lifting this family up in prayer. Congratulations to Jason Lovelace. I think he's called you, Ben. Is that correct? Okay, Jason Lovelace is the chief of police in the town of Hurt. Had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago, and Jason will be joining be the Stanton River District representative on Fire and Rescue Commission. Also, I got a good friend, and I don't want to name his name because I don't want to take a blessing away from him, but you know, there's a lot of ways that we can help these folks in Western North Carolina. We can do it through God's Pit Crew. You just ask the question and they'll say, hey, come volunteer, come load trucks. Let's drive big trucks here, drive there. My friend was very, very blessed enough. He first sent two large truckloads of water to Western North Carolina, and then he decided through God's Pit Crew, and then he decided to send one truckload of food. And then he just called me this week. He said God laid it on his heart to build 75 of these tiny houses so that they can help the folks in the area. What a blessing. What a blessing. If you get, if you're blessed by the Lord, and all of us are, what a blessing to be able to help somebody that is in need. And he's in that way. If I said his name, I feel like I'd take his blessing away, so I just won't even say it. But and just God bless God's Pit Crew. What a blessing they are. Mr. Chairman, thank you for a good meeting this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I know a lot of people's already commented on my remarks, but I do want to thank our victims, Fire and Rescue for protecting our victims in the tornado. Also attended the Callens Fire Department. They had a fundraiser up there Saturday. Went up there to that. It was really nice. I participated in the trash cleanup there at Grudner. Was a pretty good turnout there in Grudner, but at least we got some trash off the streets. And with that, everybody be safe on the way home. Thank you for coming out. Mr. Shorter, you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Hunt, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Meeting's adjourned.